as being a dealer for 27 years, the one thing I never thought I would ever see was no inventory. It's never happened. Don't get me wrong, there's certain vehicles that come out like, Priuses, gas prices go up and you can't get them and so forth and so on. Or, economical vehicles, or now gas is $2 a gallon and the big rigs start selling again. But no new meant more people looking for used, which increased the demand for used as well. And then, when there's an increase in demand and a low supply, the prices go up. I mean, if you've ever taken macroeconomics, that's one of the first things you learn, right? So from the customer point of view, I try to look at it. And I try to look at it from my own point of view. If I was a customer, how would I? So it's kind of like the housing market right now, Shaun. If you have a house to sell, you're all right. But if you have no house to sell, you're going to overpay. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So what is the customer's point of view? I'm going to shop more. Now, here's the interesting part about shopping is, since, by the way, there's been no decrease in leads or calls, but what we have seen is less engagement at Strolid. So, you can kind of figure it out, right? Your car's priced too high. You're shopping Car Gurus or Cars.com or Auto Trader. You're comparing prices. You're comparing mileage. You're comparing colors. Why would you engage with the place that's priced? Cars overpriced. And I can tell you, there's a lot of pricing has a lot of different effects on a BDC, because a BDC is the first line of defense for your dealership, and less engagement means less appointments, which means the dealers get upset with their BDC. I don't think it's necessarily the BDC's fault. It's not the dealer's fault. It's just what's happening, right? Like, that's how I look at data, Shaun. I don't look at data and say, oh, you suck, or you're good, or you're bad, or you're, inept, or you're a green pea, or you're a veteran. Or I look at it and say, what's wrong? What can we do by analyzing this information to maybe fix or adjust to the current situation? And that's one thing, you and I did a podcast on AI. That's one thing that AI can't do, is use that experience to make that decision based on, a critical thinking, right? And so somebody within the dealership has to have the experience to be able to look at this data and say, there's a lot of interesting things that come out of inventory data. Dealers, one of the things, though, by the way, I empathize with dealers because they have so many things to look at. They got web analytics, they got vehicle analytics, they got their own website analytics and digital marketing. They got all these vendors sending reports and data, all coming at them. So, one of the things I feel like I did very well when I worked for that big dealer group I used to work for was to kind of look at simplifying it. What is the most important information to look at first? And then you can always drill in. But when you get overloaded with these mountains of reports and data, it's like really hard for a dealer to make sense of it all. You got CRM analytics to look at too, by the way, that I didn't even mention. I mean, I'm not mentioning a lot of data that these dealers now have have to look at. So I think as a company, we do a really good job at helping the dealer look at a lot of this stuff and bring it to their attention. But my advice is to keep it simple, at least at the start. With most, merchandising and looking at demand is really important. A BDC is the first to know when a dealer priced a car too low, for example. Why? Because the leads go up on that particular car. The calls go up on that particular car. A BDC is the first, our data actually is showing, and we're seeing vehicles that are priced right, positioned right, are moving extremely fast. If you're right out of the gate, merchandising your car properly. A lot of indications right now, wholesale's back up because it was coming down. Now it's back up. March was lead volumes are significantly up in March. But what's down? What's down is the engagement. People don't need to come into your dealership. They can shop online. They are filling out leads. They are asking pricing questions. How are you answering those questions is really, really important. Within Strolid, we have like sheets of info for every dealer, and it's getting out of control, to be honest with you. Every dealer, well, this car, tell them they have to come in to get a price, and this car, keep them at sticker. And I'm sure a lot of dealers are doing that. Don't tell them that we won't go over sticker and all this other weird stuff. It's like, the problem I have with it is how I started the conversation, Shaun. I'm looking at it from the consumer standpoint. I had a professor at NADA used to say, I understand why we do what we do. I just don't understand why we do what we do.
Yeah.
One of my conversations with one of my dealers recently, when he was telling me he wants us to get them in, don't talk price. I was like, what are you going to tell them when they come into the showroom? Why can't we tell them?
Yeah, that's an old game too.